Welcome to the Woman's Legacy Podcast Show. This podcast is for all women identifying as trailblazers, entrepreneurs, pioneers, visionaries, and or priestesses who have already built so much. You've maybe already made the big money. You've maybe built a successful business. You may have your dream partner. You may have manifested the thing, and you want more. And as you already have built so much, you do not necessarily want faster and higher, but deeper, more meaning, more pleasure, more impact. You ask, what now? What's my next evolution? My next era? My next step? Here to build a legacy. If you can't take your followers and fame to the grave, what do you want to build? What do you want to leave behind? How do you want to have lived? What is your legacy? That we explore in this podcast. I'm your host, Julia, and with my brand Luxury Goddess, I have been a coach and mentor since 2018. I have made over 4 million euros in the German marketplace alone. I have emigrated with my beautiful family as we always have dreamed of. I've moved from trauma bonding to a beautiful, thriving relationship of many years with my dream man. I travel, I love my community, I love my life, and continually expand into innovation. More bliss, more heartfelt service, here to build a legacy. So if you resonate with this and are on a similar mission, my work in this podcast is for you. Let's dive into today's episode. Enjoy. Welcome to today's episode, which is going to be about me, your host, Julia. To make sure we can get to know each other, you know that you're talking to a person. And even though this is a podcast and I'm talking to you, for me, this is a relationship we can build. And I also feel it just feels more personal. And you can also, again, feel into if this is a good time for you, like a good way to spend your time. So you can feel if you want to be here and stay. So this is me, Julia. I was born in 1990 in Berlin, Germany. I am living in Costa Rica. I emigrated here with my family, with my husband. We've been together since 2010 or 2011. So at this point, it's been over 14 years. So 29. Okay, if I was good in math, that's another thing about me. I'm not so good in math, physics, biochemistry, stuff like that in school. That wasn't my vibe. And so, yeah, I have been in this relationship with my husband, and we've actually came together still trauma bonding, not knowing how to relate differently. We were definitely in a codependency, and we totally moved out of this. So we are free in this relationship together now, and we cherish this relationship, and I'm so grateful for him and us and for this journey, and that we made it this far. We have a beautiful son together who was born in 2015. His name is Milan, and yeah, we love him to death. And we have a beautiful cat that lives with us here in Costa Rica. And yeah, we are not planning to move back to Germany, even though we cherish our roots and love our family and our friends, our community. We do feel amazing here in Costa Rica, especially for me as a manifestor in human design. I feel very, very, very peaceful here in Costa Rica. As they say here, pura vida, which means so much as pure life, like chill life, and like it's all chill and enjoy. And this is how I feel. We're living here in the jungle mountain, so we're living on the mountain, but it's still very raw. We live by a beautiful, very strong river that we cold dunk in most mornings. We enjoy the sun almost each morning, and then I get to creatively express what I want to do, spend time with my family. We like to, of course, do things together, and we like to travel together and also individually. And I really, truly have come to love my life. And it's not always been this way at all. I've really very much, like most women, learned to people please and very much function automatically. So be this people pleasing good girl, right? So even my voice, when I listen back to podcast episodes or videos that I recorded for my German audience back in 2018 when I started, I literally, like, if you were to listen right now, I say, "Hi, this is Julia. Welcome to a new video." And so I've really, even in my voice, I can listen, I can hear that I've freed my voice, that I've freed my character, that I've freed who I came here to be, which for most of us women, of course, isn't that good girl, right? It's this free, wild woman who's here to do what she came here to be. And it's more of the rebel and the wild woman and the queen and the priestess archetype, so much more than the princess who wants to be saved, or the control freak, right? Or the mom who just gives up to be all of herself. And not saying that that's what, who we are as moms. Like, we can be a thriving mom. We can love being a mom, love motherhood, and either, just completely see that as our calling, or be a mom and be anything else, of course. But many moms kind of move into this because society shows us as a mom it's over, right? So we really want to look at what society shows us, who we can be as women, and then break that matrix. And that's definitely my path. So I have been very much back then a people pleaser, and very much fawning, people pleasing, if you know these trauma reactions. And I have been very much in my past. I was supported so much by my parents. I explored acting, even for TV. I danced a lot. I even taught dance since I've been 15 years old. I sang. So I was very much creative always. And I'm very grateful for this, knowing now that I'm a manifestor. I always wanted to be creative and express creatively. And I also very early on made money with this. When I was 9 years old, I started making money because I was acting for TV. And so I early on learned that if I creatively express, if I do what I want to do, I get paid for that. So that's a beautiful belief system that I had early on. But I also learned, I have to work hard, and I have to work to get love, and I have to be how I think people need me to be loved. So I also, of course, like all of us, have trauma and emotional wounds and belief systems that didn't initially or at all serve me, that I really had to change and really had to heal and really had to integrate trauma. And so I also, as a basic of my work as the fundamentals of my work, I always come back to trauma integration and knowing and learning about the nervous system, because it's brought me so far. So if that is still a thing for you, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you get on this and really, really understand your nervous system and integrate your trauma so you can be a whole other woman, the woman you came here to be. And what actually started me to do this kind of work was when I became a mom in 2015. I learned about this work. So I didn't know there were coaches, let alone online coaches. I thought I was going to have a yoga studio or a studio where we would have a cafe and, give people the opportunity to creatively express, give dance classes. So everything that I knew up until this point that I've already loved, that, is coaching and mentoring, right? It is growth. It is self-development. It is creative expression. It is being happy and enjoying your time. I thought I was going to do that. And then a friend wrote me a message on Facebook. She linked Gabby Bernstein's work and said to me, "You are the lighthouse. To me, you are the lighthouse. You bring joy to people's faces, and this is who you are to me, and I'm just wanting to forward this message to you. And in this way, I kind of found out that you can do this work. I was like, what? There's coaches, there's a profession that's called this way. You can do this work online. And I immediately felt, this is for me. This is for me. I love speaking. I love presenting. It's easy to me, as I already have this whole background of standing on stage and acting and singing and dancing. I love helping people. Like, it's my favorite thing in the world. I always want to put a smile on people's faces. I love being there for them. So I felt this is perfect for me. And I immediately wanted to do a YouTube channel. I started this. And then I thought I was going to talk about, meditation, manifestation, whatever I had learned up until this point. But the life wanted it differently for me. As I just had become a mom, had this big issue and topic around my femininity and sexuality. Because when I became a mom, the issue that I had before became even more pressing, which was that I did not feel aroused at all to have sex. I did not want to have sex at all. I did not feel lust in my body whatsoever. I did never have an orgasm with a man together. Like I just felt I don't want to do this, but I also had this belief system. I have to do this. I have to do this so the man stays with me. So I felt not just a whole thing of the worthiness piece. I also felt less worthy than men. So for me, I had the belief system women are less worthy than men. And up until my birth, I also had like horrible pains when I got my period, my menstruation. And so all of this began to shift with the birth of my son. My menstruation pains were gone, and I learned to enjoy my menstruation. And I educated myself more and more and more and more about femininity, sexuality, patterns, the belief system, and so much that I really dove deep and started to make videos on my German YouTube channel around femininity and sexuality. And this was a huge thing. So in 2018, and women were saying, oh my gosh, can you talk more about this? This is really helping me. I'm not finding things online about this. You're the first person to talk about this. Can you talk more about this? And so I started my signature program, Awaken the Goddess Within. And I've built this program, and I still have it. It's one of my signature programs still in my German portfolio, as is my fundamental program, No More Drama, No More Trauma, which later I added because I learned about trauma integration and nervous system regulation and the importance of that, right? And even though I got so in sync with my femininity and sexuality and learned, to orgasm and enjoy sex and all these things, which is amazing, I still, had quite an alarmed nervous system. I was overregulated or underregulated, still a lot. And so that was my next thing that I learned about that. Actually, my next thing was abundance, because I made in 2019, I think it was, I had my first 6-figure year. And ever since then, I more than doubled my sales and my, like the cash, I think, right? So the exact money you can take out for you. And so I doubled each year, both sales and, the money I can take out, the cash. And I thought this was normal. I thought that everyone in the coaching scene who is there, I thought everyone loves this, everyone serves, and of course everyone makes this kind of money. But I came to realize that it was kind of special how much money I've made. And the day we emigrated, I looked on my sales, the platform that we have the products on and the sales come in. And on the day I emigrated, the number was 1 million euros in sales to date. And I actually have made more than that, because before I used that platform, I used my own website and we sold there. So it was actually more. But still, on that day, I realized this and I was like, wow, we're emigrating today. That was July 2021. And I've made 1 million thus far. What is this life? Like, what is happening? And I started to share this, and people have, feedbacked me like, this is special, this is huge. And so I dove even deeper into money and abundance. And as I understood that this is special, I wanted to teach on that. And then this is where the duality really came in for me, because until then I had here and there, I had people criticizing, but then the criticism really started. Like, it's all about the money now for you, and you're becoming arrogant or whatever. And so I'm leaving. And so my whole childhood thing repeated itself, where whenever I came into a new room, I was very much liked. And then after some time, no one liked me anymore, and I was wrong for being me. And I really, really, really had to work on that. This was 2022, right? So after the immigration, which was July 2021, I really, really had to work on that, to integrate it and write a new narrative, to not repeat the narrative, or especially not believe it to be my future, right? So that was a huge thing. And so I started to teach about abundance and money as well, everything that I've understood. And because, again, it was very easy for me to make money. It still is very easy for me to make money. It's a natural byproduct of serving, in my opinion, in my perspective, in my world, in how I see this world and how I see my world. And so I love teaching about this. And then the more I did, and the more all this duality came up, I had to really learn about my nervous system regulation, trauma integration. And also, when we emigrated, we kind of found out as a couple, my husband and I, that we were still in this codependency, trauma bonding dynamic. So until then, it was just our reality, right? Relationship is hard. I mean, everyone knows. Instead, it doesn't have to be hard. So I really dove deep into all of that, and we also transformed that. And that was also that was kind of like the latest success. So we're right now in September 2023, and in October 2022, I realized, okay, I don't want this to continue like this. If we continue this relationship, I would like it this way. Do you want it this way as well? Let's really stop this codependency thing. So let's really learn to, communicate our feelings, our needs. Not one of us is right, and we have to get the other one on our side, but rather we are both right, and all needs are important. So let's really learn to have a beautiful relationship. And we've actually mastered this year, or mastering, I don't know, we'll see, but we really learned this, and we've had this beautiful relationship now for a month, and it's fun, it's supportive. It's always been supportive, but it's fun, it's easeful, and it's beautiful. I'm loving this. I'm so happy. And so this is about me. Again, I've been born in Germany. We've lived in Berlin, in our capital. We've moved to a small town next to Berlin when my sister was born. She's 8 years younger. And then when I did my A-level, my education, when I finished that in Germany, I moved to more eastern and southern part of Germany to study. I studied media culture. I went to Barcelona to study abroad. There I learned Spanish. And then I came back, moved in with my husband, who wasn't my husband then yet, to the north of Germany, where we lived by the sea. And we actually moved to the Baltic Sea, to another city where our son was born. He was a home birth, which was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. I'm feeling, and I felt so powerful. It was all natural. It was so beautiful and so elevating. It was not painful. It was a lot of pressure, of course, but it wasn't painful. It was just powerful. And the way the hormones kicked in and did it all, the body did it all. It was just one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And then in 2021, when our son had to go to school, so in Germany we have by law, the kid has to go to school. We checked in with ourselves, and we both always talked about emigration and moving to another country. And as we would have moved anyway to be closer to a free school or Waldorf school or some type of alternative school system, we decided to move to Costa Rica. And was after the birth and after starting a business was the next biggest initiation I ever experienced. And with that, the whole process started of learning, especially about trauma integration and letting go of the trauma bond and really becoming more and more free of people pleasing and fawning and the trauma responses, and really, really becoming peaceful inside, especially if you are familiar with human design. Becoming peaceful is my alignment as a manifestor. So really learning about that and really becoming free inside, right? Inside out, abundant inside out. And so that has been my journey. I think that's everything I made in these 5 years of my business. I've made more than 4 million euros. I definitely made so much less since last October, and that was October 2022. And that was when my whole process started of cleaning up the trauma bond, the codependency, understanding where I was still trying to save people, where I was still showing up as the murderer, as the victim, the savior. So I really focused on cleaning everything up. And I did kind of fall into the pattern last year of the more I want to earn, I have to do more. And so I interrupted the pattern to clean it all up. And in this time I did make less money, but I picked it up again this year. But and just such a different state of my nervous system, I really want to say. Like, I feel so peaceful. There's so little to none of this adrenaline rush of, identifying 100% with my business, but rather loving my life, loving time with me, loving my family time, loving my business, like loving all the parts and not depending on anything anymore. So with cleaning up my trauma bond with my husband, and in all my relationships, really, a lot has shifted also in the dynamics. A lot has shifted in the team and my community. And so everything has shifted in this way. I do not feel this codependency and trauma bonding with anyone and anything anymore. So it also changed with my own business. And so it all feels very, very different. And since then, the question also has been, if money isn't my motivator anymore, if that's not if I'm not motivated anymore by playing in the coaching scene and playing with everyone else in terms of wanting to make the same amount of money, or just wanting to grow faster and bam, 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 let's go. What is the motivation? What is the real motivation? And don't get me wrong, my motivation definitely always has been and was, wanting to teach women what I embodied, like wanting them to feel the same about my femininity, about their femininity as I did about mine, wanting to teach women about trauma integration and nervous system regulation as I did, wanting to teach them about abundance as I felt so abundant no matter what. Making more, making less money, doesn't matter. So definitely I always felt motivated to do it because of that. And I definitely also, the more money I made, felt like, okay, I want to make more because this way I can buy more and I can afford more and this and that. But the more I reached a certain state of having and attracting and circulating money, I don't feel this way anymore because it became normal. And not that I don't appreciate it anymore. The contrary is the case. The more free I become and the more I grow, I cherish everything that I have so much. Like, I see the privilege of this. I see how much I became the one to co-create this reality. I appreciate and cherish and value everything I've built and I have, and the circumstances that I had to be a white Western girl and live with my parents who've supported me always. So I definitely cherish everything. And it's not anymore this one thing that I felt, if I have this kind of money, I'll be that happy. Or if I have more money, I'll be more happy. I understand now I'm happy because I make myself happy. I'm abundant because I became the one who's abundant. So Now the question is, what's the legacy? How do we feel more bliss? How do we feel more pleasure? How do I cherish what I have even more? How do I value it? How do I nourish every relationship I want to nourish? Everything I have, I want to sustain and maintain because I love it. How do I contribute to this market? At this point of my career, I don't just want to bring another masterclass or another podcast just because. I want to make sure that this fills a gap in this marketplace. I want to make sure that I bring something that no one else has brought yet. So we work together. We build something, all of us together, hand in hand we walk, shoulder to shoulder we walk, eye to eye. We are on this earth to build something that we are proud of, that we are leaving behind for our children, if you have children or not, but for the children of this earth. So this is where I am at on my journey. And if you are familiar with human design, I'm a Manifestor 3-5. I have the right angle cross of rulership, emotional authority. And with the signs of astrology, I'm a sun, a Virgo in the sun, a Gemini in the moon, and the Sagittarius rising. That's where the fire comes from, because for a manifestor, I have an extreme amount of fire. I think it's my Sagittarius rising and my right angle cross of rulership. And I cannot stop creating. I love creating. I love serving. It's really who I am here to be. And there was this moment last year in October where I got so much, not just criticism. I want to say I got a lot of hate. I want to say that because it feels true. And it was the first time I ever felt, oh my gosh, I do not want to do this anymore. If it's this hard, if you get that much hate for wanting to, just create something, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't. But one of my friends very wisely said to me, Julia, the way you are, you can, I don't know, go to the beach, lay in the sun for 2 weeks, but after that, you're going to want to create. You know yourself. Like, don't kid yourself. Who are you kidding? You are here to create, to hold space, to build something, to bring something to this earth. This is how you feel fulfilled. And I said, yes, you are right. So I just really, really, really had to clean this whole trauma bonding thing up, learn about boundaries, the heartfelt way, right? And this is really my mission too. What I bring is we fill the gap and we build the bridge. I don't want you to push through and override your feelings and make your own feelings. You don't have to. There's a more feminine way. I also don't want you to lay in your trauma and, look for evidence again and again and again that you can't do it because of your trauma. Because you can integrate it and because you can go ahead and enjoy your life so much more. You can become who you came here to be. And it's not the conditioned, do you say it like this? Conditioned version of you, right? It's not the version of you has all the limiting belief patterns and systems and limiting beliefs that you've learned. You are here to be free. So what I'm bringing forth with my work is really the feminine and the masculine. So we always want to operate out of our innate feminine, but hand in hand with our masculine inside. And there's a way to integrate all that trauma and allow all these emotions without having to override them, but also not identifying anymore with the victim, the murderer, the savior, any part of this, the villain, none of this, right? So we can be so soft and so heartfelt and at the same time so clear in our boundaries and so strong. And this is what I want to support in you, for your life, to build this life even greater, to have even more, feel more ecstasy, more trance, more joy, more bliss, and contribute in a big way where you feel so proud and fulfilled and peaceful and free and all the things. And this is what I want to bring forth for you and also for me, of course, so we can all do this together. I think that's it. this is today's episode. This is about me. If you want to know anything else about me, you can just drop it in the comments, for example, on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram. You can DM me there regarding this podcast. Let me know what you want to know about me. I'm very much a person of, I love mantra music. I also deeply, deeply, deeply love hip hop. My favorite series are Modern Family and Gilmore Girls. I also really enjoyed The Good Place on Netflix. I highly recommend this. I love chocolate cake that's still inside, it's still liquid inside. And at the same time, I also love green juices. So I'm a girl of contrast. To me, being spiritual means that you get to be all of you. So I do not make any exceptions in terms of what I don't get to be. We get to be it all. You are it all. That's the whole point, right? Luxury goddess to me means you are the abundance of it all. You are all the archetypes. You are all the facets of life, and you are here to explore and live them all. So this is what I embody. This is what I believe. This is what I allow myself. And of course, this is also what I invite you to be and explore. So thank you so much for listening and learning more about me. I'd love to learn more about you. So if you want to get in touch, leave a comment on YouTube again under this episode, or send me a DM on Instagram. Julia Spiritual Living is my handle. I'd love to learn more about you too, so we can actually build this relationship. And if you want to work with me, just reach out. I do offer one-on-one, not a lot, but a little bit. And I'm slowly going to build my English portfolio. I already have 4 masterclasses that you can get depending on the topics you want to learn about, or just get the bundle and pay for 3 instead of the 4. And then the more the time will pass, I will see how I can truly contribute and build my portfolio. But until then, and I believe even after that, this podcast is here to serve you. So this was today's episode about me, and I look forward to catch you next time. Thank you so much. That was today's episode of the Woman's Legacy podcast show. I hope this episode and whole podcast serves you. And if it does, I invite you to leave a 5-star review on iTunes, or rank the podcast 5 stars on whatever platform you listen, and or subscribe, comment, or share. Whatever feels right to you, so we can let all trailblazers and pioneers know that this podcast is out there, here to serve and support. Thank you. From one trailblazer to another, I deeply appreciate you rising for you, your immediate environment, and for this world. I look forward to catch you next time. Yours, Julia.